also got Amanda Dalton-Winks, who is a past judge of the program, who will bring her insight into this. And then we've also got Jenni Mitton from the Willunga Farmers Market, who is a past winner of the SA Tourism Awards. So thank you, all of you, for joining us today. Okay, so what we'll cover today is we're going to talk to the benefits of entering. So that will be covered by Sean and I. And then we'll look at what's actually involved with the submission overview presented by Amanda, and also the judging process, which she's obviously got a lot of expertise in. I'll also talk to a couple of changes for 2022. My mistake, sorry about 2021 there. We are going to be talking about just a couple of changes, not as many as last year, which is all good. And then we're going to talk about how you actually enter the nominee support that we're providing, and then we get to hear from Jenni. So I'm just going to play a video, so bear with me because I do have to switch screens.
Welcome to the South Australian Tourism Awards for 2021, proudly presented by the Tourism Industry Council of South Australia.
Great to be here at the 2021 Tourism Awards this evening, celebrating the best businesses and the best people in our industry, and it's great to be moving into COVID recovery.
The South Australian Tourism Awards means so much to us. It helps us measure how far we have come in the last 18 months and also in the last 21 years. We are truly shocked and so proud to have received this award tonight.
I really value the South Australian Tourism Awards because it really recognises the tourism hospitality industry that's been doing it so tough during COVID throughout the last 2 years, and I'm just so thrilled that we can take home the award for new tourism business tonight.
The South Australian Tourism Awards are a great way to recognise the importance of our travel and tourism industry. And it's an amazing honour for RAA Travel to be part of this fabulous night. And we look forward to the reopening and staying open of our borders to restart our travel industry.
What a fabulous result tonight. We are so thrilled to receive these awards as a recognition of the work that Adelaide Zoo and Minutta Safari Park does to support the tourism industry in South Australia. It's been such a hard 18 months, but we've been resilient, we've offered amazing services, and we can't wait to look forward to what the future is going to hold once we open up to the public.
Over to me, Rebecca. I can't hear you. Can you hear me okay? Okay, thanks very much, Rebecca, for that opening, and that video really showcases the gala dinner that we had in November with over 900 guests. It's a real night of nights for the tourism industry. The South Australian Tourism Awards is such an incredible program based on
and we are recording it, and we'll provide the recording. So if there's anything
based on business fundamentals. Ultimately, to enter the awards, there's a significant submission process you need to go through, which Rebecca will talk about. But what really makes me so proud to be a part of this program is the fact that all businesses that enter get a business development outcome. Not only do they get to celebrate with their peers on the night, but they get to actually have go through a peer review process. Your submission is looked over by at least 3 judges. Those judges all have great experience in tourism and other business areas. They provide significant review in terms of the process that you've gone through over the last 12 months, how the work that you've done in your business, and they also identify future opportunities. So I really encourage you. Many of you, I'm sure, are new entrants looking at the awards program. It's a fantastic program. Ultimately, everyone that enters will get a business development outcome, and then we get a fantastic night to celebrate our industry, and then lots of businesses get recognised for being the best in their class across South Australia. So please enjoy the rest of the session with Rebecca, and feel free to reach out anytime if you'd like more information about the program and the process that you'll need to work through. Thanks, Rebecca.
Cool, thanks, Sean. Sean's obviously very passionate about the program. He's just on the road in region at the moment. So great to have him pop in for a bit to talk to the program. Thanks again, Sean. Cool, so as Sean mentioned, this is such a great development tool for businesses. In my role, I overlook accreditation and programs such as the Tourism Awards, and this by far is just one of the best opportunities that you can have as a business to really stop, review and reflect what you've done in the past year as a business. It's really great for you and your team to see what you've achieved, see what your processes are like in place, and just that opportunity to reflect and really recognize what you've done, because I'm sure what you've done in the last year has been amazing. So to actually take the time to stop and really recognize that is such a good opportunity. And then when you move forward, you've got some great feedback that Sean's mentioned from your peers, moving forwards towards the next year and onwards, with some great feedback to really develop your business even further. Now, as I mentioned, the feedback from the judges, so Sean touched on this already, but we do have a team of about 21 judges. They're split into teams. So your submission will go through a team of 3. So the 3 judges will essentially review your submission separately, and then they'll collate their feedback together. So you get, pages of great feedback on what you've submitted. And then you've also got a separate judge, so a 4th judge, who goes out to your business and does a site verification visit. So this is a really great opportunity to showcase your customer experience. And again, you get about a page worth of feedback just from that site verification visit alone. And also part of the submission, we do have a draft submission review. So while you're working on your draft submission, you can actually, we've got a date that I'll mention at the end of the presentation, but we've got a date in place where you can actually give a judge your submission and make sure that you've got everything in place, and then you can edit that a bit before you put your final one in. So you've got so much support from really experienced people across the industry, so can't rate it enough. Now, in terms of marketing and exposure, we work with a few partners, including the South Australian Tourism Commission, which we've done so for quite a few years now. So you get some really lucrative marketing opportunities throughout some of our partners and internally as well. So as you can see here, I will be sending the slides out to you after this, so you can click on the links within the slides. But you can see that on the SATC website, the award winners are highlighted within that website. We've also got SA Life and In Daily, who work really closely with us, producing online articles which highlight some of the individual award winners, as well as quite a few internal marketing opportunities through us. We've also got quite a few regional newspapers as well, for example, that really highlight some of the winners as well. So again, at a regional level, you've also got that marketing opportunity too. Now, these are just some of our internal media stats from last year. So from our electronic direct mail outs last year, we had 5,300 views plus. Total media coverage, we had 76 stories from individual media outlets highlighting all the winners from last year. And our website had over 18,000 views on our awards page. The finalists page got a whopping over 30,000 views, and the winners page had over 7,000. And with our social media, we had over 65,000 reach and 11,900 engagement. So really great stats from last year, I think better than we've ever had in the past. If you are a finalist of the Tourism Awards, or if you become a winner, you are recognised as an outstanding tourism business. You can see all those happy faces in that picture at the end of last year's gala night. If you do become a finalist, which means your submission has reached over 75%, then you get this logo, which you can use before you head to the Gala Awards night. And you can really use this in your marketing and comms to leverage that finalist status. You also automatically go into the running to win the Voters' Choice Award. So last year we had over 20,000 votes. So it's a consumer voting system. I think in 2019 we had about 10,000, so it doubled in the last year. So it's, again, another really great opportunity to be exposed to consumers online. So there are over 20 categories. Each category, what we do is we get 3 of the highest scoring submissions. So again, over 75%. One business comes out as a winner, one as silver and one as bronze. And the winner gets to go to a Qantas Australian Tourism Awards, so the national event, which is held in a different state each year. So this year, this will be held in Queensland later on this month. So it's a great opportunity. You can see all the different winners on the Australian Tourism Industry Council website to see your competition. And it's just really great to network with those different businesses across the country as well, who have really achieved that excellent business standard. Now, for a few years, we've also been very lucky to host a reception at Government House. So this year, the winners from last year will be hosted by Her Excellency. It's just a short reception, but a really great way to finish it all off, finish the celebrations at a really distinguished event. So such a good opportunity. Now, for those of you who are accredited, you are already featured on the Trust the Tick consumer website. But if you do become an award winner, you are featured on the website in an award winner category. And also your individual listing, which is pulled through ATDW. You can see here, you've got the logo on your listing on the Trust the Tick website as well. Okay, I'm now going to hand over to Amanda, who's going to talk about the submission process. So really getting into that nitty-gritty side of things, and also talking to the judging process and how that plays out as well. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thanks, Rebecca. Now, can you hear me? We all good? Yes, great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, and it's great to see so many people registered. So, as Rebecca said, we're just going to run through what's involved and give you a bit of an overview of the submission and the categories today. I have some notes that I'll be talking to off screen, but Rebecca will share those with you later so that they can also be a reference tool for you as you're going through the process. Rebecca will also mention other resources throughout the process that you can tap into, like the How to Enter workshops, etc., that will go into more detail once you do commit to entering. So let's get started. You can see some points up on the screen there of what's involved. You can enter more than one category if you would like to. I recommend, if it's your first time, just stick with the one category that suits your business best. It is a lot of work, and until you know what you're in for, you know, it could be a bit much to take on. So one category is a great business development tool, great learning curve. Highly recommend for first-time entrants that you do that. Then if you do choose more than one category, just make sure that you're focusing on the specifics of each category question. So don't just replicate the submission across categories, because each category is looking for different things. So that is that one. So on to the next slide. The word count for 2022, as Rebecca mentioned, I think has been increased to 10,000 again. We've got six sections that each have 3 sub-questions. Now, I'm using as an example today the general question set, which is the major tourist attraction, and I can't remember exactly how many other categories have that question set, but that's sort of the general question set. Other categories will have some differences in questions. So we, as I said, will cover more detail in the How to Enter workshop when we get to those. Now, one of the things I recommend for people to do when you are first preparing your submission is to look very carefully at the questions and identify the keywords in the question. So make sure you're answering that question thoroughly. There is a sort of a method that I recommend that we'll go into in the How to Enter workshop at another time. As I said, today is more an overview for you. Make sure you keep a tourism focus on your submission. So just remember, this isn't a business award, it is a tourism award. Tourism should always be the focus. Don't assume reader knowledge as you're writing your submission. You may go to nationals and you may end up being judged by a national judge who isn't familiar with the state, let alone your region. So just keep that big picture in mind. Rebecca will cover the consumer rating and online review. At this point in time with your online reviews, make sure that any responses you are posting are timely and demonstrate really good conflict management. That is really quite crucial to that online review process. The site visits, not all categories are visited, but for those who do have site visits, the judges will experience your product as a customer would. So we have a look at Google, we Google your business, have a look at your reviews, ratings, maps, website, etc., just to give us that sort of point of view of a tourist. Or a visitor. So be prepared for that. Check your nominee kit when you do nominate. You will receive quite a lot of resources there that will help you prepare for that. Images. We've got the next slide there. So images can be used to support your content, not in place of your content. So you've got several examples on screen there. Just remember the old adage of a picture is worth 1,000 words. That is really true for providing context here. So there are some details once again that we'll go into in the How to Enter workshop about how you present your images, etc.
And can I just butt in there as well, Amanda? Sorry. Just for those of you who did or have entered previously, ATIC are working on a better system to upload images as well, because I do know I have worked on a submission in the past and have noted how difficult it can be to upload those images. So for those of you who are aware of how those images are uploaded, changes are hopefully going to be made this year. So yeah, just watch this space. But I just thought, yeah, that was something that really set you back last year, then hopefully it's something that's going to be improved and will drive you to enter as well again, because it's hopefully going to be much better. Sorry, Amanda.
Yeah. No, that is good. So that's a good point, and it will be a relief for those who are viewing who have submitted before. It looks as though hopefully that process will be more streamlined this year and more user-friendly. So that is great. So on to our next slide. We talk a bit about tables. So tables for conveying your information concisely in the submission. So the guidebook, once again, will give you some recommendations as to which questions, and also the How to Enter session will cover more detail on which questions tables are really good for. Important to keep in mind that with tables, the text is included in the word count. So it's unfortunately, it's not a way of getting some extra words in there. It is all included. So the other thing with tables is to make sure you're including measurable outcomes in them. So throughout the submission, the judges will be looking for evidence of your statements. So you need to be able to back your statements up with either quantifiable or qualified evidence. So either numbers or examples, basically. So once again, on to the next one. So the key submission sections we've got coming up on screen there. So some general pointers here. Read the guidebook before you start. Highlight the relevant areas. Go through those keywords of each question. Keeping in mind that the judges will be looking for things that they can award you points for. So really make sure you're looking at those keywords in questions. There are also some pointers and tips in each of the question sets that give you an idea of what to include. So go through those quite thoroughly. The sub-questions and point allocations differ by category. As I said, the major tourist attractions is the one that we're using as the base today. And that will be the example that we're using in the following slides. For 2022, the responsible tourism section has been reinstated. For those of you who have entered before, this was formerly known as the sustainability section. It's a really well set out section that really lets you tell the story of what you're doing as far as responsible tourism. Rebecca, as we said, will explain the online review and consumer ratings. So next section, we're going into the COVID-19 impact. So this is the first section of the actual submission questions. It's not included in your word count and it is not scored. So this is your opportunity to provide a background story for the judges, but they have asked this year that we keep the answers brief and recommend dot points. I know last year I was recommending, you know, putting a fair bit of information in. That is actually incorrect. We are doing dot points and clear, concise information, very factual this year. What we will still be looking for is a positive approach, how you've been proactive in overcoming the challenges, business agility, seeing opportunity in crisis, you know, what you've been able to do to make the most of a challenging situation. So the sub-questions in that section are how many months was your business operational for? So if you have been impacted by shutdowns, etc., you get an opportunity to talk about those. Restrictions that applied to your business, you know, for capacities, etc., and the impact of travel restrictions to your business, so border closures, that sort of thing. As I said, it just helps the judges to understand what challenges you've come up against over the qualifying period. So on to the next slide, and we are looking at the introduction. So you can see there we've got the sub-questions listed. Overall, the whole section is worth 15 points. Not evenly weighted across the questions, but you'll see those when you get the question sets. So this section is a big picture overview. This is where you set up your business story. So you're talking about the who, what, when, where, why, and how of your business, and just letting us get to know you. Make sure that you take this opportunity in this section to demonstrate your eligibility for the category you have entered. That is a very important part of this section. You will include your business mission, vision and values here, as well as your key plans and strategies. So just very top line, refer to them and then put more detail in question 2, which is business development. Also demonstrating your commitment to tourism excellence, and you might, as evidence for that, also include any awards, accolades and accreditation that you have achieved. So on to the next slide, we're looking at business development next. Once again, those sub-questions are there. This gives you an opportunity to provide more detail on your initiatives, goals and strategies. You will be referring to your overarching business plan here. So, you know, what you've planned for the next 1 year, 5 years, or any long-term planning that you have in place for your business. You may have also conducted post-implementation reviews for your major initiatives, so that will also give you a lot of information to include in this section. This is an ideal place to use tables so that you're keeping your information concise. The use of SMART goals is also really good in this section, and this is crucially important to include quantified evidence of your outcomes in this section. That next question, the next sub-question, I should have said, jumping the gun there, Rebecca, sorry. So the next, let's have a look. The next sub-question is why you've implemented those initiatives. So that talks about how you've improved, adapted, innovated, and any flow-on effects that you've had from that. The third sub-question is the outcomes. That's where you demonstrate the journey. What benefits have you seen from that? How's it enhanced your business, etc. So next slide is marketing. Sub-questions are there. So you really need to identify your target markets as a starting point here. If you don't already have a strong idea of who your target markets are, this is one of the starting places for you. You need to know who you are talking to in order to be able to have an effective conversation with those customers. So who they are, why your product appeals to them, how you are communicating with them, any innovations you've introduced, your marketing strategies that you've spoken about in question A. So any initiatives that you've put in place to boost business there. Why were they chosen? How did they appeal to your target markets? How do they align with marketing plans on a broader scale, so regional, state, etc. And also including, especially as part of sub-question C, those measurable outcomes again. So on to the next section, which is customer experience. So this is where you would include your overarching customer experience philosophy. So customer journey mapping can be an excellent way to visualize this process and communicate it with the judges in your submission. Consider your service standards and overall experience. So from when visitors or potential customers first become aware of you, through to their first point of contact with you, their visit and beyond. This is really front and centre for this section. We'll also be looking at inclusive practices. communication strategy and processes that you've used throughout that customer journey again, and also incorporating customer feedback, how you encourage and monitor it, and also how you use that feedback as an opportunity for continuous improvement. So next section is the responsible tourism, which, as I mentioned before, has been reintroduced for this year. So it's broken into the three sub-questions again. This, I think, is a lot clearer than it has been in previous years. So I think it will be more manageable the way it's been set out for this year. So sub-question A is how you deal with your environmental responsibilities. So what are you doing, for example, with water, waste, energy, emissions, reduction and reuse initiatives, land care, native vegetation, habitat rehabilitation, those sorts of things. This is the place where you talk about those in detail. Sub-question B is your social and economic responsibilities. So this is where you talk about how you support the local community, people and relationships within your community, and economic. So how you support local businesses, you know, local employment, that sort of thing. The evidence there is more metric, so monetary spend and how you generate benefit to the local economy. The final one is your ethical responsibilities. So, for example, you could be talking about how you integrate Indigenous culture there, how you include traditional owners in your business or in your decisions, cultural inclusiveness, heritage preservation and activation. Those sorts of things are your general examples there. So on to the next slide. So just a bit more about the judging process. The judging panel, as I think Rebecca and Sean have mentioned, is a voluntary panel of experienced industry professionals. We conduct the judging in teams of 3, so we each review submissions separately, then we all come together to deliberate in a team and then as the full panel. So it's a very sort of democratic process. We each have our own ideas and perceptions about submissions, and then we work together to come up with the final outcome. I've already covered the fact that we deliberate and discuss in teams after the individual scoring. If there are very close results, that site visit feedback can actually be a deciding factor in where your submission ends up sitting. So once again, that site visit is really important for giving us a real perception of your business and how committed you are to the tourism industry. The chair of judges oversees and adjudicates the judging process, and then once we've, as a panel, come up with our results, an independent auditor checks and verifies everything. So it's a very stringent process. Judges are looking for, I think we're on to the next slide now. Judges are looking for these things that are on screen, so you can see all of those points there. Just some considerations as well. Each submission takes a judge about 2 hours to review. So as part of our allocation each year, we can have 20 or more submissions to review. So make sure you're keeping that story very easy to digest. Don't make us go looking for information. Make it enjoyable. Show us your passion for your business. Yeah, obviously, also, as we've said before, make sure you're answering the question. a really good way to make sure that you are being as clear as possible is to ask an objective third party to review your submission, and also submit your draft submission for the review opportunity. That is incredibly valuable. So some tips for success here up on screen. So you can have a look at all of those, keeping in mind that the qualifying period is the 1st of July 2021 to the 30th of June 2022. So just make sure if you are considering nominating, be really proactive from today in gathering the information you're going to need for the submission. Do as much as you can to make it as easy as possible for yourself during the writing process. So some more tips here. Just going on from that, planning is key. You want to start as soon as possible. Break down the process, set yourself some target dates and milestones, and make sure you stick to them as much as possible. Life will get in the way, but if you set yourself milestones, you've got a good gauge of where you are throughout the process. That keyword and dot point exercise that I touched on earlier, and we'll go into more detail on in the how to enter session, that will really help you identify what you need to do and what information you need to gather as evidence, that sort of thing. So get yourself organised, use the TICSA and Tourism Awards support and resources. So sign up for whatever you can get access to, whether it's webinars, whether it's workshops, etc. The draft review, any of that sort of stuff is really helpful, especially for first-time entrants. This is a good time to be reviewing and referring to your regional and state tourism plans as well. So starting to get those resources in place and working out how your business initiatives align to those. So your first and final word from me, your first submission will be a steep learning curve, but the process is invaluable as a business development tool. In subsequent years, when you enter again, you'll actually be able to use that submission as the basis for following submissions, but it will also be a prompt for you to revise your business plan, your marketing plan, and any of your other initiatives that you should really be reviewing annually as good business practice. And also, once you've been through the process the first time, you know what information to collect throughout the year. So subsequent years are much easier because as things come through, you'll know that you need to squirrel that away for your awards submission for the following year. So that is it from me for now. I'm not sure whether we've had any questions come through in the meantime or how you want to do that, Rebecca?
Yeah, so we do have a question regarding the site visit and whether or not it's a surprise visit, and we can say that it's definitely not a surprise. It's very well organised. You're aware what time, what day the site verification visit is happening, what judge is coming. It's definitely not a surprise visit at all. I think many years ago it used to be a bit of a surprise shopper element, but obviously we want you to do really well in your site verification. So just preparing for that visit is really important. Not that you wouldn't provide an excellent experience for any other customer, but we just think having that site visit organised in advance is just a really good way to prepare you. Do you have anything to add to that, Amanda?
I'll just mention that with the site visits, usually the judge will contact you prior to, usually a couple of weeks before at least, we know. And also if it's accommodation or an incredibly busy business that is, has high booking numbers, we also, as much as possible, will fit in with your business. So, for example, we wouldn't be coming to visit you if you're an accommodation provider. We wouldn't be planning to visit you on a Saturday night in school holidays or on a long weekend. We do try to sort of fit in with the business, but it is also obviously subject to the judges' availability, because most of the judges work as well as doing the Tourism Awards judging. So, yeah.
Perfect. That's all the questions we've got. We've also got a question about the pricing, but I'll talk to that a bit later. So that's it.
Yeah, that actually was on one of those screens as well. If you want to refer back to them when you get the webinar, everyone. But yeah, Rebecca will also cover it shortly.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Amanda.
I think there's another question coming through. Or we can always come back to it later if you'd like.
Yeah, we might come back to that one.
Sorry, it might just be easier if I say it out loud rather than
Sure.
typing it. Sorry, Amanda, I know that you said to sort of keep things, assume people don't know anything. From the marketing side of things, when we're filling out that marketing section, to what extent do we expect that the judges actually understand marketing principles and concepts? Because if we have to go in and explain why we're segmenting a market a certain way, or to what extent we're segmenting a market, or why we've picked a certain market, obviously that's going to blow out those numbers and words quite significantly. So like I understand keep it basic and simple, but where we do have a much more complex business development plan or marketing plan, to what extent should we be fleshing that out or dumbing it down for the judges?
So the judges do obviously understand, you know, your marketing and business principles. Most of us do have some sort of business background, usually in tourism. So if it's something that is really niche or innovative or new, then you might want to explain it a little bit more than, you know, a well-established concept or activity. One of the key things to remember is to, wherever you're using acronyms, make sure you're writing them in full on first use, because that will go a long way to understanding. Also, those images can be really helpful for explaining a concept, so keep that in mind too. If you are able to give the description to an objective person who's not familiar with the business but is sort of experienced in business, and they are able to understand it, that is a good gauge. So you don't need to go into loads of detail, but you want to explain the basics. And if there isn't an obvious reason, as I said, don't assume knowledge, explain it, but you only need to explain briefly.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Cheers.
So
Thank
I think
you for your question.
Yep.
Yes, back to me. Okay, so as Amanda has mentioned already, we do have a couple of changes for 2022. Last year we had about like 5 slides on the changes for 2021 due to the pandemic. There were just so many changes that were in place, but this year we've got 2 really major changes, and it's pretty much reverting back to the old submission process really. So it's a 10,000 word limit. So last year it was reduced to 8,000. And also we're reintroducing, as Amanda mentioned, that responsible tourism component. So that brings up the total question set to 5 questions, plus that COVID-19 impacts section. So those are the 2 major changes really. So like I said, it is really more so moving towards recovery within industry and moving back to the old format within previous years. So as Amanda mentioned as well, we do have the Review Pro elements. Now, if you're not familiar with Review Pro, it is a really great website which collates all your reviews from all your platforms, so over 175 websites, including websites like TripAdvisor and Google My Business. What it does is it collates those reviews, analyzes them, puts them in what's called a global review index. So you can see on the screen here, it's that number here. So that's your percentage across all the reviews that you've received. And it compares your reviews with thousands of businesses across the world who are signed up for Review Pro. So part of your submission is that GRI, the Global Review Index. Really important to note that if you are on Review Pro, you need 25 reviews in the last year. So for this, it would be for the qualifying period. You need 25 reviews to generate a GRI. If you don't have 25 reviews within the qualifying period, then you don't get a GRI. So really important now that you've got that in your mind. If you've noticed you haven't reached 25 reviews this financial year, then you do need to kind of ramp up getting those reviews so you have enough for your submission. Now, if you are a member of TIC-SA, you do have a free account that we can activate on Review Pro. It's part of your membership. It is worth $1,000, but being a member, you get that access. If you're not accredited, then we will give you a free license to use Review Pro during your submission process. But after the awards program is complete, then we will take you off. But if you do decide to sign up as a member, then you can keep that Review Pro account as part of your membership package. Now, how to enter. So we do have a few things just to keep in mind. Amanda mentioned as well, we're not going to go into the real nitty-gritty stuff of how to enter today. We will be providing a workshop on that, and I'll tell you the date a bit later. So expressions of interest are now open. We have popped that in the chat in the Zoom meeting, so please feel free to click that link in the chat and register your interest so we can keep you updated with any information about the awards program. Nominations open later this month on the 21st of March, so keep that date in mind, and they won't close until the 30th of May. The draft submissions, which I think is a really important thing to highlight. If you want to get that draft submission in by the 13th of July, that's a really, really great opportunity to get a judge to have a look at your submission, what you've written so far, and get some feedback before you submit your final submission on Wednesday, the 10th of August. Seems like a long way away. I can tell you as time moves on, it just creeps up on you. So definitely get yourselves organised. So you do need to nominate through the Quality Tourism Framework portal. Again, if you are a member, if you're an accredited member, then you probably have seen this already. It looks like this when you log in. And you can go into the awards section down here, choose your program. We'll give you access, and then you can go into the award submission here by clicking view more detail. You can't actually go through the whole submission process on the framework until you've paid. So just keep that in mind as well. The sooner you pay, the sooner you've got access to the whole kind of works of that portal. Now, if you are accredited, you've got all the systems in place in terms of your submission, because you've done your accreditation, which a lot of it you've probably noticed is part of that base work for your submission. If you're not accredited, you will need to actually complete business standards questions, which need to be done by the 27th of July. If you're not accredited and you are interested after the program's complete, once you've done those business standards, that's essentially the framework for accreditation. So if you become a member, you've got all of that in place to be accredited. So it's a really good segue into becoming a Quality Tourism accredited business. If you are an accommodation provider and you're looking to nominate in one of the accommodation categories, you do need to complete an accommodation standards pre-assessment, which gives you an unofficial star rating as well. Because star ratings are a lot more complex, this doesn't give you that accreditation, but again, it gives you a bit of insight into that as well. But that is something that you do need to complete before you submit. So if you are a TIC-SA member, you do have some benefits when you nominate. So one of the questions that we've had in the chat is how much does it cost? So if you have a look in the chat, it is there. So it's $290 for non-members, and you get $100 off, so $190 for members. You also save money on your gala dinner tickets, and our membership starts from $299. So if you are interested in becoming a member, those discounts pretty much paid off. If you're already a member, become accredited. because that way you don't have to fill out those business standards, because like I said, they're pretty much the same kind of framework. So if you are already a member, I highly encourage you before nominations open to get accredited, and that way you've got that kind of thing out of the way as well. If you are QTAB accredited, great, you've got access to a free Review Pro account. Get set up in that as soon as you can. When you go into the portal, you just need to click, if I go back a few slides, down here, you just need to verify your Review Pro account. It takes about 2 weeks for Review Pro to activate that for you. So if you've already QTAB accredited and haven't had experience on Review Pro, click on that button there and you'll have access. And I'm happy to walk you through that as well in a Zoom session one-on-one. And if you're an accommodation provider, you can also become star rated, and that way you get that element of your submission out the way as well, and you get to be officially star rated. The nominee support that we are offering this year is a how to enter workshop, which will be held on Tuesday, the 14th of June for about 3 hours. Once you've nominated, we'll also provide you with a nominees kit online, which is going to be like your little Bible for this program. And then we've also got the Ask the Experts sessions, which are usually held in Adelaide. There's usually 2 dates where you are able to set up a time, about half an hour, with a judge to ideally bring a draft submission or what you've got so far to see what you've got and see if you can get any valuable feedback from one of the judges. If you are in region, you can just set up a phone call as well and get that feedback, and you can probably just send through your draft submission as well and talk to that judge about your draft. And then we have the View a Winning Submission, which is another great opportunity. We will have a fantastic winning submission from previous years, probably last year, where you'll have to organise a time to view that, and that will most likely be held here in Adelaide as well. So there'll be a big window for you to organise a time to view that. It's a short session where you'll just get to go through it, take any notes, and bring that away with you. But obviously you can't take the winning submission away with you, so we just have that one spot where you can see it. And then again, that draft submission review, really important, due on Wednesday the 13th of July. If you can get that in, that feedback from a judge is super valuable to really elevate your final submission, which is due in August. And just to note, category questions and criteria are now available on the TIC-SA website. So I will send this to all of you today, but if you want to hop on straight away, go onto TIC-SA, go onto the SA Awards website or part of the website, and then you can actually see all the criteria uploaded to see what you're working with this year. Cool, I'll pass on to Jenni now, who will talk about her experience as a winner of the Tourism Awards. Thanks, Jenni.
Thank you. I won't chat for too long because you've all been sitting there listening for a long time. Yeah, so just we've entered the awards 3 times now, and very fortunate to have been put into the Hall of Fame last year, which is very exciting for us. Why did we enter? The market had been operating for 16 years before we entered for the first time, and the decision to enter was made up of a number of factors. We had a new team managing the market, so we had lots of new initiatives in the qualifying period. So it was a good time and with lots of enthusiasm that we decided to enter. We also wanted to show our support of tourism and its importance to the region. The market primarily exists for people to shop for fresh food, but we have built a reputation as a place for people to visit and experience the atmosphere and community spirit of the area, so Willunga and McLaren Vale, and we welcome visitors from far and wide who choose to include a visit to the market as part of their holiday plan. So we wanted to show our commitment to tourism. And it was an opportunity for us to review our processes. What are we doing? What works? And what can we do better? And I guess, picked up these things as reasons to enter from attending a session like you're sitting in today. What we got out of it, we had a good look at all aspects of our business. So from operations, marketing, business planning, strategic planning, what our customer mix was, and much more. Winning. That was probably that was the best thing to get out of it, which was recognition from industry and also more locally, a real sense of pride amongst our stall holders, our volunteers, board members and shoppers. So everyone was very proud. It also generated a lot of interest from local people who may not have visited the market for a while, that wanted to come down and check us out and see what all the fuss was about. My top tips, the COVID question, I guess that sort of set the scene, particularly that was obviously only a question last year, gave me an opportunity to, I guess, get the COVID stuff off your chest, explain what the impact it had on our business and the things that we put in place. So yeah, just sort of covered that off, which was great. There was no points, but it was obviously very important to get that information in there. It's been said numerous times already, but my top tip would be follow the process. The planning, support and guidance that is offered by TICSA is absolutely amazing. Over the years, I've attended lots and lots of information sessions, basically anything that was on offer, particularly in the first year. I took loads and loads of notes and photos at all of the sessions, and then would walk out realising that there was an excellent handout being, either given to me or emailed. So that was okay. I had a one-on-one with a judge to ask questions very early on in the process, viewed a winning submission, and also submitted a draft on each occasion to get the judge's feedback. And that's absolutely invaluable and a must do, in my opinion. Set up a folder, do it today if you're even remotely considering entering. I'd suggest that you set up a folder and just start dropping things in there that you'll be going, you'll have all these things going through your head of, oh, I wonder if that would be relevant. Oh, I've got that great review that I'd seen recently, screenshot it, take it, and put it in a folder so that you just start gathering information from the past 6 months or 7 months, and then just keep adding to that along the way. Don't overdo the submission with fancy words. Keep it simple, keep it relevant to the question, and remember that the judge may know nothing about your business, so don't assume prior knowledge, but I know that's been mentioned already. Data, any data that you've got is good data. As long as you can verify where it came from, when and why, use it. For example, the first time that we entered, we hadn't surveyed our customers regarding expenditure for quite a number of years, but we were able to use that data we had by explaining how we, when and how we collected it. So if you've got any, again, that's a great tip that I was given by a mentor, and then in ask the expert session. So yeah, just use what you've got, and if you're not sure, ask, and you'll be given the information. Don't leave photos until the last minute. We've got an amazing collection of images, and I thought that would be a really easy part to just pop those in at the last minute. Was I wrong? Particularly in the first year, I was scrambling at the last minute, resizing and grouping photos, and hit send thinking, oh, have I mucked up my submission by leaving that so late? So don't do that. With my last 2 submissions, Canva has become my very best friend. So I'm sure lots of you are familiar with that, or have other programs where you can make some really good infographics, etc. Ask for testimonials to support your application early on from customers, colleagues and suppliers. Again, you don't want to be scrambling for those at the last minute or not receive them in time. Calling in a favour, people don't mind. I found that people don't mind helping out with a testimonial, but they don't want to be taught when they ask, when do you need it, and you tell them yesterday. It sometimes can stretch the friendship. If you do have offers of assistance, I'd recommend picking a particular area or a question that you're struggling with. So rather than asking someone to review your whole submission or to help with the whole thing, just give them a particular question and get them to help you with that. I had lots of offers of help to proofread and things like that. I was always sort of scrambling a little bit for time and felt a bit overwhelmed to take up those offers, but in doing so, particularly the last submission, made my job a lot easier. If you've entered before and you're considering entering again, I didn't expect it to be easier. and I was certainly right, particularly last year, because the questions were changed. It is a huge task and it takes time and effort, and lots of visits to the chiropractor, if you're like me and you do things late at night. But having access to the feedback from the state and national judges, the opportunity to win to view a winning submission, and getting some help are all invaluable and will help you on the journey. It was definitely worthwhile. We're able to look at lots of parts of our operation and improve systems and practices for the future. Final note would be, yeah, go for it. If you've got a little bit of time up your sleeve, or you've got a team that are passionate about your business, which I'm sure you do, just get on board and do it. If you're in region, particularly in the Fleurieu, and you want to reach out and have, I'd be happy to have a chat to anyone that's got any questions or wanting a bit of a hand. So yeah, just reach out. And that's all.
Cool. Thanks so much, Jenny. Really good tips from you, and I'm sure what you've received from winning the tourism awards has been a really great benefit. So thanks so much again for sharing. We do have a couple questions in the chat, but I am conscious of time, so we'll quickly go over those.
I'm happy to jump in with a couple of those, Rebecca. I've seen a couple of through.
Yeah, so we'll keep it short, but have a look at the questions. Will it be able to be viewed online? So the winning submission, will it be able to be viewed online? I believe it wasn't something that we offered last year. If there was some way that we can make that possible, then I'll have a look at that for sure.
Actually, I can jump in on that one.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that it's commercial in confidence, usually what it is you in a room with a notebook. You can't take your phone in, you can't take photos, you just need to look at it and make notes. We obviously have to respect the privacy and confidentiality of those winning businesses who are kind enough to share their submissions with the other entrants.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda.
That's all right.
What else do we have? Would it be recommended for a small family business to go through all this, considering it would be up against the larger companies that may enter? And I say yes, absolutely. If you are a small family business, you should definitely enter. It's not about how big you are, it's about how great your submission is. And what you offer. Do you have anything to add to that, Amanda?
Yes, I do. Look, it's an excellent business development tool, and it's a great way for you to make sure that you are keeping yourself accountable and reviewing your planning annually. There have been plenty of small or family-owned businesses who have won over the years. So I know sometimes it seems like it's big businesses that win, but if you actually have a look through the winners list, there are plenty of small businesses who have done the hard yards and really reaped the benefits from it and found it incredibly valuable.
Great. And final question, and we'll wrap up the session. If you don't have a business plan apart from in your boss's head, will this be impossible? Do you want to touch on that, Amanda?
Yes, absolutely. Once again, I've actually mentored several businesses over the years who didn't have a business plan, a written business plan. Usually for a small business, you do have a lot of stuff in your head. Once again, this is a great opportunity to get it out of your head, onto paper, and make yourself accountable to review it annually. You'll actually find that really helps your business to plan and also evaluate. So evaluate what you've done, whether you want to continue it, how you could improve it, but also plan for the years ahead. So yeah, absolutely. Get it out of your head, get it on paper. And this process can really help you do that, because remember, you've got all of that support and those resources.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions. So we'll wrap it up. Apologies for going over time by 7 minutes. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope you found the session super informative. Thank you, Amanda, again, for all your wise words about the judging process and the submissions. And thank you, Jenny, for enlightening us with your experiences for being a winner at some of our tourism awards as well. Like I've mentioned before, we will be sharing the slides as well as some of Amanda's notes. And remember to register your interest. The category questions are live on our website on TICSA, so I will send you a link for that as well. And if you have any questions, you can see on my screen, rebecca@ticsa.com.au is my email, and please feel free to give me a buzz as well. We're here to help you. We want you to be a finalist. We want you to develop your business, and we want to see some South Australian winners at the national event. So thank you so much again for joining us. Again, feel free to contact us. You can see you've got so much support out in the industry as well. And we look forward to hopefully getting some submissions from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.